Dear respected Thai, dear sisters, dear brothers, dear community, today is February the 9th in the year 2025. We are sitting in the Stillwater Hall in the Upper Hamlet of Plum Village. And today is the first day of mindfulness of 2025 for the Plum Village community. And it's our first week that we reopen our monastery to welcome many friends from around the globe to come and practice with us. A day of mindfulness is a day to pause, to be here is to be present, and to cultivate together our aspiration of developing our capacity to be mindful. Mindfulness, first of all, is always mindfulness of something, and we can bring our attention to the breathing as a concentration, to be mindful of the breath. We can bring our attention to the sensations in our body, to the feelings in our body, mindfulness of the body. Is there any pain, any agitation? Is there stillness? And so we can invite and allow our body to also be in touch with the stillness just by being present. And we'll have an opportunity to walk together, to walk in mindfulness, to dwell with each step that we make on this planet Earth, and to be mindful of each step that we take. And this action of mindful walking is an opportunity to cultivate the sacredness of being alive, of being able to feel alive and connected to the earth as our refuge, as our home. And as we are mindful, we can also be expansive and allow the community to be present with us. We are living in this moment in a community. You have a community, but to connect to the community, there is a practice to that. And that practice is to see beyond the self. We all have an individual, as I am Brother Phap. You are who you are. But when we look deeper and we connect deeper to ourselves, we can not just be alone. We have to interconnect with so many conditions, so many elements that are present for us to be here. And when we can touch this realization, we can bring alive the insight of interbeing. And we can gently, slowly touch the non-self element in us. And to be in touch with the human connection, but also the non-human. The trees, the birds, the flowers. The daffodils are beginning to show up on the hill and the valley just across our hall here. And our teacher always took time to marvel at the wonders of life. And there's a lot of wonders in this present moment. Also acknowledging also the pain and the suffering that we carry within us, and the pain and the suffering that is also present in the world, the fear, the displacement, the finding of a refuge. And we can be in touch with this pain also. But we also have to take responsibility to not take for granted the present moment that we have. And as a day of mindfulness that we have to dwell in, we have to fully take advantage of it. Because this day is a gift. This moment is a gift. Recently, somebody asked me, Brother Phap, if you weren't a monk, what would you be? And that's a very good question, and I'm very scared to look at that question, because I know of all the bad paths that I could have went down, and I am able to acknowledge the patterns in my family. There's an addiction seed in me. And part of some of my family members were alcoholics. We've always had a bottle of Hennessy in our room, in our cabinet in the living room, as a place of escaping the present moment. And growing up with a lot of my cousins, we were in one home. And I'm a son of a refugee, so many of us in the early days, in my early 1990s, when I first came to Toronto, we all lived together. So I'm very used to community. So when I found Plum Village and I joined the Sangha, it was very easy for me to be with many bodies. But here, very good influence. But I grew up with a lot of my cousins and some of my uncles. And because they took refuge in alcohol, they also passed it on to me, even though I was very young. I'll never forget the first time I tasted beer. And they said, come here, you want to be cool like us? Take a sip. And I joined in because I wanted to feel a part of. And as I continue to look and reflect on my childhood, I also know that I have an addiction to sensory pleasures, television, and definitely video games. I grew up playing Nintendo. And Plum Village was actually the first place in my life that I experienced 2 weeks without television and without video games. And I never knew how fun life can be, because all of my entertainment and all of my placement of joy and happiness was in the consumption of particularly video games, as well as the television. And learning to recognize all of the pathways that I could have went down and I could have cultivated, I just feel a deep gratitude. I feel a deep relief that I was able to welcome in a spiritual path. And there's an act that we all have, is that we also learn to surrender to the practice, to the present moment. And we learn to recognize our habit energies and allow us to touch new energies, new actions that we can apply into our everyday life. And I think one of the reasons why I bring this up is because we also make a lot of mistakes in life. And as a monk, I also make mistakes. I also have relationships that I wish I could have taken care of better. There were siblings that I live with that I wish I could have expressed more my profound care and my profound love. And that brings me to wanting to go back to the past and to fix it. And I think we've all read books or stories of us having an opportunity to go to the past to fix it. And we recently just experienced loss in the community. We've had some of our monastic siblings leaving the path. And looking at it from a bird's eye view, we see that as a part of life. We have birth and death. We have the flowing of a river. We have the coming and the going. So when there is an impermanence, there is a hard fact, is like this is a part of life that we have to learn to accept. And sometimes it is out of our control. But also there's also the grief. There's also the sadness, the pain of our loved ones not here anymore. And that's very human. And we're very human as monastics. We also can honor and allow also the feeling of loss to be present. As well as during the last 3 weeks, one of our buildings was burnt down. And as we practice as monastics, we also learn to not be attached to material resources, but when something that has been a home to hold and to cultivate, such as the Purple Cloud building that was burnt down. It was a building that cultivated many monastics through many generations. And it's thanks to a container, thanks to a building, that we were able to learn to live, learn to practice, to have a refuge. And that building became very sacred. That building we had a relationship to something that is material. And here we can start to see that as a practitioner in the spiritual practice, even a table is very spiritual. It's very sacred. And a home can be very sacred. The walls, the doors, it can also be very sacred. So there is a deep practice of having a deep connection and relationship to value the material resources that also present itself to support our life. And we shared this pain when we lost the building. Maybe me saying this, it sounds so simple. It sounds even, why do monastics are attached to a building? In the grief of it, there's a gratitude to it. There's a gratitude to what was present before our times. And I've also been reflecting on how to value the present moment. And it comes back to this gatha that I've been reciting. It's nothing new, but it's very beautifully translated by Thai. And it's in the discourse on knowing the better way to live alone. Do not pursue the past. Do not lose yourself in the future. The past no longer is. The future has not yet come. Look deeply at life as it is, in the very here and now. The practitioners dwell in stability and freedom. And as I practice to be with the present moment and being in touch with my community and being able to share the grief, the loss, but also to share the togetherness. And when there is a loss or something that unexpectedly happened, how powerful connection is and what a refuge that is. And in the last week, our community, we celebrated the coming of the Lunar New Year, a new year. We live in a multicultural community, so we get to enjoy many New Years. So we had the 30th January, December 31st to refresh ourselves, to enter into. And then we had another opportunity just a few days ago. And during these practice of these days, culturally, it's a moment to honor and to celebrate life. And in Vietnam and in many of the Southeast country, we didn't celebrate individual birthdays. But on the new year, it's everyone's birthday. So we all celebrate the coming of age for everyone. And it was later on when we said hello to the West, or the West came and said hello to us. We learned and adapted the birthday on the day that we were born. But it's also something very beautiful of that is a collective celebration. We celebrate everyone's alive in this new year. And during those days, we open our home, we open our monastic quarters. We only do this once a year, so it's a very special moment. Because for us, the monks and nuns' quarter is our little refuge, and it's our little private life. I think in Plum Village, there's a lot that we share to the public, but there's a little corner where we can call that is our little sacred home. And each monastic has their bed or a bed box, their study desk, how they decorate it, how they make it their place of refuge. And it's that one time we open and we welcome the sisters and the lay friends into our home. And we celebrate. There's only one way to party as a monastic, and that's by sitting and having tea and sharing stories, sharing our togetherness, and learning to sit there and just to be present. And I was paying attention. So some, it is their goal to visit every room. And so they're on a mission within 6 hours that they have. And it can be a very joyful experience, because you're learning to meet your community and to be um, a little bit more intimate. Because I think in our life we have a lot of formal moments that we connect with each other, such as during these days of mindfulness. But during those times we get to just sit and sometimes be in the moment of awkwardness. It's like, I have nothing to say, but I'm here and I'm gonna listen. And I got to also witness many siblings really spending time to share, to hear, and to ask questions. And there's something very beautiful at the end of each visit, is we learn to express gratitude, and we learn to put it into words. And this is an art form to express. It can be very short, as just how grateful that you are still in the community. So grateful that you are here walking alongside us. Or like watering the flower, watering the wonderful qualities that we get to see in that person every day as they are as a Sangha. And when we are able to express from this space, we're living deeply this present moment, and we're living deeply and we're valuing the relationship. We're valuing the presence of one another. And of course, this should be our daily practice. But when there is a moment like the lunar calendar that comes around, it helps bring all of us into that space. But as a practitioner, how can we continue to thread this gratitude in our daily life? One of the monastics during the oracle reading asked, how do I take root and deepen my root in the Sangha? And this also may be a question for the aspirants who just received, hello, that just received your aspirant robe yesterday. One very concrete practice is to nurture the seed of gratitude in us. Just to see how fortunate, how many paths we could have taken. But causes and conditions have allowed us to find a spiritual practice, and then find a spiritual community where we are learning to put our heart to, and learning to make it our home. And to see that Plum Village didn't manifest just from nothing. It also went through many journeys of an individual, our founding teacher, Zen master, whose first name is Nyuk and whose second name is Han. Our teacher, through his own journey of suffering, his own journey of finding a refuge. And Thai, in a way, was a refugee himself, not being able to go home. But then how wonderful he created a refuge for so many of us. I think that alone for me, I feel so grateful. And that can continue to strengthen my commitment to my individual aspiration of dwelling deeper in the present moment. Nurturing deeper my spiritual roots, so that spiritual root becomes a refuge for so many others. And this gratitude is a very concrete seed that when alive, makes me feel so fulfilled. And this gratitude is also of the nature of impermanent. It can also be lost. And when we just begin, especially as young aspirants, I think our gratitude is very strong right now. And one of our aspirants yesterday in the introduction to the community, his father drove him from Germany here. And his father presented himself to the Upper Hamlet community to express his joy of bringing his son and delivering his son to the community. And how in that moment, in my heart, I had so much gratitude to the father who understood his son's deep aspiration, and for his father to support his son. That is a luck. You're very fortunate. Some of us, we had to run away from our parents to become a monk or a nun. And some monastic to this day, they still don't accept that they are monastics. But nevertheless, we see the importance of this path, and we see importance of the life that we want to offer, that we want to be of service. And so that gratitude is still very alive. And each and every one of us have its gratitude that we would like to share the merit to, such as our parents. We are practicing for them. And every time I get to touch that gratitude, that I get to do this for my mother, my father, my sister, I feel so grateful. And I don't feel this as an individual sacrifice or as an individual decision. Because there's sometimes in me, I do touch the joy, and I can even say the privilege that I was able to have to be a monk. And I can take for granted this life. I can take for granted this community. I can take for granted the days of mindfulness together. And I lose those moments, those precious moments. But when I am able to remember the sacrifice that my mother gave in saying yes to my decision, somehow my heart becomes very tender, and how grateful I am to have this moment. So I invite all of us to just breathe in this moment, to see how precious it is for us to sit in this day of mindfulness, allowing us to be here for those who cannot be here. And maybe there are loved ones or friends that we wish that they can find a spiritual path so that they can take care of their pain and their suffering. But in our breathing, we can invite them to be present with us. We can allow them to taste this mindfulness of sitting, this mindfulness of listening to the sound of the bell, this mindfulness of listening to the rain, the breathing. It's so wonderful to listen to the rain. It's like the Dharma of Mother Earth. And the poem continues. We must be diligent today. To wait till tomorrow is too late. We must be diligent today. To wait till tomorrow is too late. I think culturally we have inherited this overthinking, procrastination, and waiting for tomorrow. Because we believe tomorrow will be better, will be brighter. And we make a bet with tomorrow. And the path of mindfulness, the path of Zen, is to place our trust and our cultivation in the present moment. Everything that we wish to care for and to heal is in the present moment. We may need to learn to stop, to rest, to be, to allow the healing to take place in the moment. Just like when an animal gets wounded, an animal has the insight, the wisdom to stop, to do nothing, and to be still, and to let the healing take place because there is an insight from our body, from the stopping. And we may know, or we can learn now, that the first wing of meditation is the capacity to stop, to accept, to recognize what is manifesting inside of us in this moment. And to tenderly care for it, learn about it, and also allow it to also know that it has other wonderful qualities in us. Yes, we have the grief, but we also have the solidity, and we have the insight that this moment is a wonder. So as a practitioner, when we practice stopping, it's not to run away, but the stopping is to give us agency to take care of the present moment. And if we keep waiting till tomorrow, we will keep waiting. And that habit is very present in all of us. So this is a bell of mindfulness for all of us. We must be diligent today. And diligence in the practice of Buddhism is being diligent in watering the seeds in us. What seeds are we cultivating every day? We can recognize that, yes, I have fear. Yes, I have anxiety. I have loneliness. But am I attached to those feelings? Do I keep watering those feelings, those seeds? Or now we have an opportunity by stopping, we see these habits, and now we can realign our way of life so that we can cultivate our own trust in ourselves. We can cultivate our awareness, our mindfulness, our concentration, our actions, to be more mindful, to be more grateful. So today when we have lunch together, that's an opportunity to be in touch with the wonders of life that has come to our plate, to our bowl. It has taken the whole cosmos to create rice, broccoli, tofu, for it to be here just to nurture our body. And these, when we put into action, this is meditation, this is engagement of the practice into our everyday life. And in this moment is a very deep practice. So do not think that these fundamental practices are not deep. They're the core of mindfulness, concentration, and insight. The core of our everyday training, our everyday enrichment. These three elements is to enrich and to empower us to live deeper this present moment. I breathe as I read the next part in this gatha. Death comes unexpectedly. How can we bargain with it? Death comes unexpectedly. How can we bargain with it? Just a few days ago, in our Sangha, we received the news that one of our dear Sangha member, his name is Karim, who has passed away unexpectedly. And he passed in his sleep. And the cause of his passing is still to be discovered. But Karim is a deep friend of the community, and he helped build part of the team that built the Plum Village website, and was a key person in helping Plum Village have its presence on the online world, and work very closely with a lot of our brothers and sisters, and a key member of the Sangha in the UK, and specifically the early days of the wake-up communities. And the last few days we've been grieving his loss, and having the opportunity to also treasure his contribution to the Dharma, to the Sangha, and to the Buddha. And I know that he is only physically not here, but he's very alive. Every time I type plumvillage.org, I smile. I'm in touch with his heart service and in his wholeheartedness with us. And a year ago, also, I lost a very dear friend of mine who took his own life and also came as a great surprise. He was, we met in Plum Village. He was a retreatant and I was a young monk. And we bonded because we both were playing basketball. And we both discovered that we are deeply in love with the game of basketball. And we shared about our favorite teams, and then we became spiritual friends on the path. And in a way, he also was a mentor to me. And he was a lay practitioner that I took refuge in, particularly when I was in crisis. Because as a monk, it was very hard to share my crisis and to share my suffering to my brothers and sisters. I think now I'm much better, but back then it was hard because I was afraid that that I would not be strong enough for my own community. And one of our gratitude is we're grateful to the friends on our path who supports us, and in particular moment of difficulty. And I never had the opportunity to also just honor him. So in the last few days, I've also been honoring him with every moment of being alive. And his name is Luke. And Luke always had a mantra to help me wake up. He would always ask me, how's your heart? And how's your heart was a very difficult question for me during my crisis. If he asked me, how are you? I can go to autopilot and say, I'm fine. But how your heart was a different program that I had to check in. How is my heart? And to learn to honor the feeling of the heart in that moment. And really the present moment is so precious. And I knew my friend was going through deep difficulty. And he shared to me that he was in deep depression. And I asked if I can visit him. But he said no. He said, wait until I'm better. I don't want you to see my weak side. And this was a past story that I sometimes beat myself. And because I did find myself in the United States last year, and I wish I could have just went. But I wait till tomorrow. And I waited so that he would be better so I can share a moment with him. And just knowing that life is precious and our togetherness is precious, and it truly is something that we cannot bargain with. And nevertheless, I know that even this Dharma Talk, now Luke is a part of it, Kareem is a part of it, and they have contributed to the Dharma, to the Sangha, and to my own aspiration of the path of the Buddha, so also to the Buddha. Death comes unexpectedly. How can we bargain with it? The sage calls a person who dwells in mindfulness night and day, the one who knows the better way to live alone. Live alone here means you know how to be in the present moment. Live alone here is not with community, but is how to be present and to enrich our capacity of connection, of being alive. Thầy has a book called The Appointment with Life. And Thầy always reminds us that we have one appointment with life. And that appointment we have to make every day. That appointment is the present moment. Have you checked in to the present moment yet? Have you checked in to the richness of life in the here and now? And this gatha here also, for me, it brings up the contemplation of how sacred life is, how sacred our connection with one another is, how sacred this building is. And for me, why is Plum Village special and why is it a home? It is because it is built by so many people. And it is built by so many moments of individual sacredness that we have cultivated, we have touched, and we have left our marks. And this insight have really empowered me through this moment in our community. And sometimes I feel the responsibility is also very heavy and is overwhelming. And sometimes I have the wish to run away from Plum Village because sometimes I see, I'm just like, ooh, I get shiver. I'm like, am I enough? But then when I can be in touch with the sacredness of the collective that is present, and seeing that I have inherited this by so many other members' sacred moments, I feel empowered that this present moment, if I can do it just 60%, it's still good enough. On a good day, 80%. On a better day, 95%. And in rare moments, 100%. And knowing that this sacred river of the community and home here can be inherited by the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. It feels very empowering, and I feel I don't feel there's a deadline. I feel that it is a joy to be with, to be in service, to be a joy to cultivate my practice, because it will be continued by another generation. And somehow that also reminds me to be responsible also for the robe I'm wearing, the mindfulness trainings that I've received, the precepts that I am applying. So this awareness has been a source of encouragement and boost for me. And I hope that all of us, we can also cultivate this sacredness and practice the first Dhamma seal of Plum Village. I have arrived, I am home. And because Plum Village is a home for so many, and sometimes it may not feel like our home. I've had this feeling, very strange. Sometimes I feel like I can just go and Plum Village will continue. And that's a beauty there. But then sometimes I feel like, no. But because I am part of the river, I'm part of the thread of the community. And I'm doing my best. And just by being present, I'm one of the drop of river for the other drops to merge into this river. And I hope that all of us, as we are finding our grounds to take root in, we can already cultivate that awareness. So do not wait until you are accepted as a novice to be happy. Do not wait until you are accepted as a bhikshu, then you're happy. Or a Dharma teacher, then you're happy. Or as somebody who is seen, you see yourself. And believe it or not, the Sangha eye is very bright. We see you. And we are very grateful for everyone's presence. Do we say it enough? Maybe sometimes not. But we aspire to say more. And this reminds me of an elder brother that I have. And he's still in the community. And one of his practice was he would water the flower of the community. So if he sees you, he would just say how good you are. And he was so good at it that a lot of us were scared of him. Because we were so scared of receiving all of this flower, because a part of it's like, is it true? Or is he just trying to win me over? And your mind creates so many different stories. But in this moment, I see that he was enriching and telling me of the wonderful qualities that I should be diligent in watering, in cultivating, and in sharing. Because when we have a good quality, it is shared through many of us. Your kindness, your smiles, your ability to take care of yourself is a generous offering to all of us. So in this light, we see that the Dharma, it becomes a gift, a service. When a brother takes care of his emotions, I'm very grateful because I see he is putting into practice and he is not cultivating the anger inside, but right away he put it into practice. Last year, in a session of Shining Light practice is something the monastic we do once a year. And we offer our mindfulness and our recollection of an individual, of how that person have grown in the year, what are the qualities that they continue to offer, and what are some of the mud, the seeds that we see, you gotta put some work there, my dear brother. There's some seeds that we can take care of. And there was, in one of the sessions I was a part of, maybe something that was shared, maybe triggered one of the brothers. And I saw the brother got up, went out, and practiced walking meditation. At first, my mind went, oh, that's rude. Only my mind. It's the first time I'm expressing it. And I was like, oh, why would he leave the group? But then I saw the way he was walking. I said, he's taking care of feelings in this moment. And then in that moment, I felt very grateful. And I felt, wow, he's taking care of the collective group also. Because that anger or that irritation can also be spread to all of us. But he's like, no, let me take care of this burden. Let me go outside a little bit. And just in a few minutes later, he came back and he joined the group. And this is part of our Dharma. This is part of our practice. And I really saw that brother, my younger brother, really gave me a teaching in that moment of how to support the community and how he was taking care of of the anger inside or the frustration. Because by practicing like this, he's not giving that burden to all of us. But he can dwell, he can take refuge in oneself in that moment. And then he came back and he flowed again in our whole session. So dear community, today is a beautiful day. A beautiful day because we can practice together. We have this opportunity to give ourselves this day of mindfulness. Don't take it for granted. It will pass by also very quickly. And allow ourselves to be carried by the collective energy. Allow us to live this day deeply so that we know that our preciousness of one another is not to be bargained with. And old age, sickness, loss, and death is a part of life. That is the impermanence of life. That is something that none of us can escape. The loved ones that we hold close to our hearts, we also have to learn to let go. But we can continue them by our presence, by our practice by our living deeply in this moment. The Buddha has taught, do not pursue the past. Do not lose yourself in the future. The past no longer is. The future has not yet come. Look deeply at life as it is in the very here and now. The practitioner dwells in stability and freedom. We must be diligent today. To wait till tomorrow is too late. Death comes unexpectedly. How can we bargain with it? The sage calls a person who dwells in mindfulness night and day, the one who knows the better way to live alone. We are grateful to our beloved teacher who have given us this community, given us a refuge to be diligent and to nurture our practice and our community. And I honor our Sangha friend, Kareem and Luke, in this precious moment of being alive in this community. We breathe for you, we walk for you, and we continue for you. Thank you, dear Sangha.